On this episode, we're talking about YouTube videos and video creation in general with one of my favorite video creators in the whole real estate industry, Brad McCallum from Calgary, Canada. He has some of the best videos. You might think that you're watching HGTV when you watch one of his listing videos, and he does it all himself.
The Massive Agent Podcast, with lead generation tips and strategies to get you more leads and sell more homes.
I love to buy houses. I like to sell houses.
It takes brass balls to sell real estate.
Wait a minute.
The leads are weak. You're weak.
I've had better.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Here's your host, Dustin Brohm.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 154 of the Massive Agent Podcast. And today we're talking about video and YouTube and what kind of equipment to use and how you can have great HGTV quality stuff and do it your damn self. Because Brad McCallum does, and he does some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Now, before we get started, this is interesting. So all day today, I had the house to myself. My kids were at school. My wife and my daughter, they were away shopping. I could have recorded this earlier, but no. I let myself get distracted with other things. I let myself procrastinate recording this. And so now my entire family is directly above my head in the kitchen on the wood floor making dinner. My daughter's rowdy. My son is loud. And so this is interesting. So if you hear random noises, it's not on your side. It's definitely on mine. But hey, working from home life, that's the way it works. But honestly, jokes aside, I really wouldn't trade it for the world. I love having them upstairs, just not jumping and throwing freaking frozen dolls on the wood floor above my head while recording a podcast. But that's all right. And you guys working from home, you feel my pain. You know what I'm talking about. It's fantastic and terrible all at the same time. 2020, guys, 2020. All right, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Dustin Brohm, your host. I am a real estate agent myself in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've decided to change up the intro to the show a little bit. A lot of this, I get asked all the time, what do you recommend for this? What do you recommend for that? What about this? What about that? And some of you guys really like the different products or services that we recommend. I'm going to start doing those after the interview, and so we can jump right into the content a little bit quicker. And I'm not going to go through my whole introduction. To be honest, I was listening to one of my previous episodes while I was editing it, and I was like, okay, I've done this 154 times now. Why the hell am I going through, taking up 3 minutes talking about myself? And I felt like a douchebag. So I don't want to be a douchebag. So I'm going to go ahead and not do that anymore. So if you want to find out about me, just go follow me at Massive Agent on Instagram or the Massive Agent Podcast on Facebook, or find me, Dustin Brohm, on LinkedIn. And you can see all the stuff that I do if you'd like. But I must say this, that we are a proud founding member of the Industry Syndicate Real Estate Podcast Network. And man, there's some cool shit coming in 2021 from the Industry Syndicate. Big stuff, big plans that take a lot longer to implement than I once thought. But that's the way things go. That's the way things go. What's important is that you make progress. And stuff always takes longer than you think it will, and it always costs more. But you know what? If it was easy, everyone would do it, and then it wouldn't even be cool because it'd be normal and everyone would have it and everyone would do it. So, whatever. All right, guys. So Brad McCallum, he's an agent up in Calgary, Canada. And I've known him from social media for a couple of years. I've seen his videos being shared around, and I was like, that dude does some really, really good videos. And he and his friend and co-host of the Bob and Brad, Jesus, I'm getting tongue-tied. The Bob and Brad Show. Bob Tompkins, he's the agent who was on our podcast months ago when he did Old Town Realtor, that spin on Old Town Road. He did the music video with, talking about the boob lights and stuff. Freaking hilarious. Hit over 1 million views. I think he might have even hit 1.5 million views on that video. But Bob Tompkins and Brad host a podcast together, and they had me on a couple weeks ago, and it was just a great freaking conversation. I enjoyed it. I've shared it on Facebook. If you guys follow me on Facebook and want to see that, just look up the Bob and Brad Show or go to the Massive Agent Podcast on Facebook and check it out. But I'm like, I've already had Bob on. I need to have Brad on. And when I saw his videos, I'm like, those look like they could be on HGTV. Like they're so well done. It looks like they have a whole crew and cameras on booms and all this crazy shit, right? Well, that's not the case. Brad does his videos all by himself. And it's time consuming, and he spent some money on some really good equipment, but he does it himself, and he still manages to sell a bunch of homes, really nice homes. But there's a lesson here. And so I wanted to have him on the show to, first off, just explain how he does it, what he uses, what's important to focus on, and what kind of results he has from YouTube. Well, YouTube, he's dominating Calgary, Canada because of his YouTube channel. He's, let's just get into the interview, shall we? What's up, guys? I'm here with Brad McCallum, all the way from Calgary, Canada. Brad, welcome to the Massive Agent Podcast, my friend. How's it going?
Dustin, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. Fun fact, when I first got my license 3 years ago, and I was just like ready to consume everything I could for real estate content, driving around to open houses and things like that. It was the Massive Agent Podcast that I first started downloading and listening to. So this is crazy to be on it.
That is crazy. I'm surprised they didn't like discourage you from like, I'm surprised you weren't like, well, I'm not going to be part of that industry. I'm going to go be a lawyer or something.
Yeah. No, this takes zero.
That's cool.
That's great.
Right. If that joker can do it, I'm going to crush it. Exactly. Dude, and that's fair. Like that makes me happy. If you have those thoughts, that literally makes me happy. That's how I feel. Like, I'm a confident guy, but like, I'm not Richard Branson or someone like that. So like, I enjoy to a certain extent that I can just be me, whatever the hell that means. And some people will be like, well, shit, if that guy can do it, so can I. So
yeah,
thanks for sharing that. That's cool. That's kind of crazy.
Well, you know what I find what's really interesting about this business and why I got a chance to get on here is that we're all looking for like that unlock, that thing that's going to help grow our business, that hack, that new technology, that new CRM, some kind of Facebook lead or a click funnel or whatever it is that's going to grow our business. We're always kind of looking for it. And then when we find someone can come along and do something that's a slightly fresh approach. It gets all the agents' interest. It's like a true meritocracy, right? So it's like, I see how you do it and what works for you. Maybe there's 2% of that or 10% that I can use in my business. And then I see what's working for this guy over there. And I'm like, man, I love that. And that's what's so cool about being kind of plugged into the actual industry and what's going on with other agents, which is one of the big mistakes I made very early on in my career was thinking, why even watch the competition? Just go focus on my business. And then I realized there was a lot of knowledge there to be gleaned from it.
Totally. Now I'm about to recommend a book that I haven't read. It's just recommended a lot. Steal Like an Artist. I think it's called by Skousen something or other.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, look, there's nothing that you do. There's nothing that I do. There's nothing that even like Gary V or anybody, like none of that's new. None of it's revolutionary. The only thing new is the spin that we put on, like the way I say something. It's not that what I'm saying is like revolutionary and the world's never heard it before. It's just maybe I say it in a way with certain emotion that clicks with somebody when they've heard it 50 times before and it never quite sunk in. It never quite clicked. Or, if somebody's researching, in your case, they're researching real estate in Canada, or even like looking for a city to move to. And they're like, oh, that video's cool. That video. Oh shit, what's this? And like, there's something about how you do your listing videos, or your personality is likable. You come across as credible and likable at the same time. And they're like, oh, this is cool. Like, we like this Brad guy. And it's not revolutionary. It's just you're doing it your way. And that cannot be understated. Like that's everything. And I think people just need to get over themselves, Brad, and realize that they don't need to have this totally revolutionary thing before they open their mouths, and just accept that nothing you're going to say is revolutionary anyways. Like, it's just like, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Well, when you look at it this way, as soon as you do anything, right, this whole industry is built on gassing each other up. Oh, this guy's a top producer. This guy sold this many homes, right? So everyone's gassing each other up all the time. Like, Dustin, you've got over 300,000 downloads of the Massive Agent Podcast. That's crazy. Or Brad, you're getting so many views and subs on YouTube. it's all this stuff. But the biggest mistake any of us can make is to believe any of our own BS, like believe that we are doing something unique, something special, all that stuff. Because I kind of feel like it was that kind of that drive, that hunger to be like, have some relevancy somewhere in my market, to try to add some more, find some place where I could add a little bit more value into the equation, that it would make it just so it's an easier sell to work with me versus the competition. Like that was my whole mindset in using video to really kind of build a personal brand. But actually, primarily, first off, it was to actually help sell my clients' home, because I thought, like, ultimately, what a huge, massive responsibility this is. They've got $500,000 set up with someone who could have just came out of the bar and entertainment industry, got their license, and is now selling their home. Like it's a nutso business with a very low barrier of entry and a very drastic results based on your success on what market you're working in, what agent you're working with. You know, like some agents in a great market, they don't have to do anything. And other agents in a tough market, like where I'm living in, I'm actually ready for the good market at some point in time. Like it'll be crazy because we built our entire business in a recessionary period here in my own local market.
Let's talk about that for a sec, because when I was on your podcast, now is it the Bob and Brad show, or it's Bob and Brad, because Brad and Bob just sounds weird for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because I heard it your way first. When I was on your show, you mentioned that Calgary, Canada is not is in a buyer's market. And I'm like, wait a minute, like that's weird, because isn't Vancouver still like crazy hot and Toronto is crazy freaking hot? And I'm like, well, that's interesting. But that also, and I want to hear more of your perspective of what you're doing in that buyer's market, because a lot of us listening are not in a buyer's market. It's still a seller's market and will be for the foreseeable future. I got excited for you though, because I'm like, wait a minute, like you are, you're doing all these amazing YouTube videos and you're doing them to sell homes, because that's how you make money. You don't make money every time somebody subscribes to your channel. Like that leads to more income down the road in indirect ways. But, ultimately you make money by selling homes. So if you're able to do that successfully now in a buyer's market, and you're getting listings are easier in a buyer's market, but you're able to sell those listings when that hot market comes, the seller's market, dude, you're going to dominate. You're going to be like Mr. freaking Calgary, if you're not already.
That's the goal. We're getting there.
Yeah, you are getting there. And so that excited me. I'm like, wait a minute, you're doing all the right things when other agents are pulling their hair out. And they're like, damn it, I got another listing. I don't want another listing. Yeah. And we're over here like, please give me a listing.
Yeah, give me a listing.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Tell me about your market a little bit, but then what you're doing right now in the buyer's market.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess first off, I don't have any sort of background in video marketing or anything. Like I was actually in the trades. I started off with a renovation and design business. And then when I was about 39 years old, I decided to get my real estate license. And it was only because I was bummed out. Like we had been in this bad market. I had been renovating and designing homes in this tough economy. And so, it was just people wanted to pay less and less and less. And I decided, I'm like, man, I got to do something different with my life. I actually had a tumor.
Really?
Got a tumor. You know, Beastie Boys, right?
Yeah.
So Adam MC died of this thing called parotid gland cancer. And it's a tumor that forms in your parotid gland, which is part of your salivary glands. And so I got one in there, and it started to grow pretty quickly. And I was just at this moment where I'm like, man, never got my high school diploma. I've got this business that is just, it's suffering. We're in debt. I've got this tumor on my face. Like, what is happening to my life? And at that point in time, I just decided, like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to go make some of that easy real estate cash. I'm going to get my GED. I was getting like invitations to my 20-year high school reunion. And I was like, see you in 20, guys. Like, because I'm just getting my GED now. And so I went and did it all in like a period of 3 or 4 months. I'm like, that's it. I got to change my life at like 40. This is going to be difficult, but I'll do it. And so I kind of I got my license, and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to even get business, because like I have no value to add, like just no value. Like it's like my sphere of influence. Like I don't want to be, asking people to throw me a bone and then represent them in a massive financial transaction. Like that seems like a crazy favor to ask someone. I'm like, I don't know if I even want to lend my lawnmower out, let alone trust you with, with selling my house.
Right.
So I just got to that point where I'm like, okay, I've got to find something that works. And I'm in a market right now where the name of Calgary.com, that name is owned by a real estate agent.
Damn.
So how the hell was I ever going to find a kitschy domain name to search engine optimize my website? Like it wasn't going to happen. And I could do the pens and the postcards and the bus benches and the billboards. I could do all that stuff. Doesn't matter. I was going to be more of the same. It was just obvious that I wanted a business that people could call me. And that's when I started realizing like video could be the avenue. I started doing it on my initial listing videos. Like I dropped 8K on gear. It showed up on a Thursday morning. I had a listing I had to get live by 1 in the afternoon on Friday. I went there and I'm telling you, I'm still proud of that video. It's still better than 95% of what agents produce. But I was at the house and I'm like watching a YouTube video on how to balance a gimbal. Once I got the gimbal balance, I was like, okay, what camera settings for low light? Okay, great. I'll do that. Then how to walk with it not being shaky. Okay, I'll do that. And then I just I was like, all of this stuff I learned in a condensed period of 4 or 5 hours, enough to get something kind of unique. And then, you know what I found was, and the reason why I would tell everyone to start doing something on video, get into video more, is that people in my sphere of influence who I would have normally been very, very uncomfortable going up to them and starting up, conversations that were disingenuous, meant to drive them towards telling me if they're interested in selling or buying a house. Right. Those people were walking up to me and being like, dude, I saw that video on that place over in Arbor Lake. Like, that home ever sell? Yeah, we've been thinking about selling. And all of a sudden it was like, there was a few signs that, okay, people were starting to resonate with this.
Hearing that, like, I can't help but think back to when I first started in content marketing, but I chose the blogging path. I chose writing articles and blogging and, hopefully being found organically through Google and everything like that. But it was with the same thing in mind. Like, you just chose to do it through specifically YouTube video. What was it like, because just deciding, hey, I'm going to drop $8,000 on video equipment. That's a much bigger commitment than me like launching my website that I had to borrow money for.
Yeah.
But what was it that got you there? Like, why video? Like, why did you specifically choose video at that time?
So my wife used to be a wedding photographer. And so she would go and shoot weddings on the weekends, like probably in the late 2000s, early 2010s. And every once in a while, she'd bring me along as a second shooter, right? Like get the groomsmen and those guys like getting ready. And not like that, but you know what I mean? Anyways, right. Like get some shots before they're going there when they're all stressed out and preparing their speech. And so I'd go there and I kind of liked the energy of the day. Like I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. And right around that time, we had my son, and on the back of her old like Canon 5D Mark II camera, there was like a red record button. And when I hit it, I realized it was starting to record like full HD 1080p video, but with her really high quality lenses. And so for about 6 months, I'd fool around with video. I took like a few videos of my son, like 8 months old. They're still on YouTube. Like her and I, like we just made some fun videos. And at the time I was running my renovation business. So I filmed a few videos of some of the finished renovations that we did and threw them up on Vimeo, not even on YouTube. And they ended up, they were like really great sales conversion tools. People would find them even back then because they were searching. People have always been searching for content. The content just wasn't there. And so when they would see it, it was like, okay, great. They could see past social proof that people had worked with me and spent $100,000 on a renovation. So it wasn't so much of a stretch for them to do so. And they could gauge based on the quality and the fact that it's like, okay, this customer let them come in at the end. They must have been happy, all that stuff. So I knew video could work. I knew it was going to work. But when I first got my real estate license, I joined up with a small team for a few months, and I worked with them, and they were doing the CRM, like the Facebook ad leads and stuff. And it was like we were getting like, Fred at Flintstone.com and F at U.com and like all that kind of stuff.
Love those.
And
Yep.
I just was like, is this what real estate is? Like, is real estate really filtering through 200 different emails, bothering 197 people, and then getting 2 or 3 people to maybe put their hand up and saying, I will tolerate a conversation with you. And then hoping that if you keep doing that every day or two, that hour of power and all that stuff, that you are going to have success. And without question, you can. That is a very viable business model. And the guys who figure out how to bring their lead costs down and all that stuff, great. That's a great business. I don't want to deal with people that don't want to deal with me. I'm just not interested in it. And I don't want to sell myself. I always feel like, because I don't believe it. Like, I believe that I'll do a good job. I believe that we offer more value than another agent. But if I didn't believe that we offered more value, I would be terrible on a listing presentation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I believe, like, I don't have to sell people, oh, we have a database of buyers in wait that we will present this property to, as if I'm holding them back, so I can earn a commission. Like, all this crap that our industry puts forward as like, viable marketing methods for capturing people's contact information. Like, all of this is like this fly trap of annoying people. And I hate it. And I've always hated it. So I've always thought I'm very kind of counterculture to the whole top producer, whole success mentality, like all of that stuff. I want to have success. We've had tons of success. I actually just think it does nothing for industry to stand in front of rented Lamborghinis or to post just more unengaging content about just sold, just listed, for sale, like all that. I just think there's so much noise, and the more noise, the more content that's created, the more we have to cut through. And the only way to cut through is to have a perspective or an opinion or something, and then know how to leverage it and distribute it. And so there's a lot of great guitar players who never, ever leave their basement. They might be better than Carlos Santana or the best, or Hendrix or anyone, but because they didn't know how to distribute, no one ever heard it.
That's right.
So I think 50% of the value that I bring to my clients is, while we create this awesome video product, and the other 50% is we know how to get that product seen by people in our market, on our leveraging our different platforms. And part of that is because of the power of my own personal brand. People will follow us and expose our properties to them because it's more than just a listing video. And so that's, I think, really the strength of building a strong brand and then bolting that onto our listing videos. It helps me keep my message really pure, which is what if we took all the crap that agents put their money into, like all the self-congratulatory stuff, the stuff that's all about them and their headshot, all that stuff, and we put all that money into just selling the house? And what if we just sold the house? Would people recognize that that's different? And would that 1 or 2 degrees of separation that we have as being the house is the star, my wife and I, or the McCallum group, my team, we're the supporting cast, like, would people appreciate that value exchange? And they do. And it's went from more than just local people in our community. Now, all of a sudden, builders, investors, architects are like reaching out to us because they're like, wait a second, we're great builders, we're great architects, we're great designers, we've got a great new development, but we're not marketers. So we can hire some corporate marketing company, or we can hire someone with passion, and we're going to get an HR department, a PR department, and a real estate agent when we hire Brad. If we go with the other guy, we get a realtor.
Yep.
And I'm like, forget it.
Dude, I love this story so much for so many reasons. And that's why I wanted you to just keep talking, man. Like, you're speaking my language there. No, I'm glad you did. So what you did there, like, to kind of reverse engineer what happened, you defined how you'd want to do business. Mm-hmm. And, you were thoughtful and intentional with, choosing video because you saw, hey, this is working over here for this business in this way. Like, it could obviously work over here. And I hate how traditional realtors do all this bullshit where they just push out stuff that they want people to see, but those people don't want to see it, that is our industry, unfortunately. And so you're like, I'm going to do it my way. And at the time, so at the time, did it feel risky to you, or did you just know like this is the right way to go?
So I guess that this would be the thing. This is where I mitigated the risk. Would have I spent $800 or $1,000 on getting a really high quality, best quality listing video, hiring some company to come in and work? No, I probably wouldn't have. But I mean, I come from a very do-it-yourself kind of family. Like I've grown up, like my dad was an entrepreneur, my sister's an entrepreneur. I'd always been an entrepreneur. So my logic was always like, I'm going to learn how to fish. I'm just not going to buy a fish, right? Like I'm going to learn how to edit. I'm going to learn how to work some of this equipment. So the only thing I'm risking is my time. And I'll tell you, one thing that Ricky Kruth, he talks about all the time, right? Which I love is like, oh, don't get coaches, or, don't start a team. Like, I'm a diamond realtor, do $1 million a year, all that stuff. But what I love about Ricky's approach though, and I completely agree with, it's like, if you're not selling 30 or 40 homes a year, what the heck are you doing with your time?
Sure.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing when you're not showing homes? What are you doing when you're not working with clients or working on a deal or negotiating? What are you doing with that time? Like, are you just, like formulating new cold leads, cold lead generation? Are you door knocking? Are you doing that kind of stuff? And he's very much into that style of business, which is cool. I would just say I spend that time instead of, trying to go out and do lead generation. I try to create lead attraction by creating content during that same period in time, right? So in my mind, I mitigated the risk by learning what is completely free and available on YouTube, just how to shoot and edit video, that very, very simply. And, there's some incredible creators out there that create with a 4K video on their iPhone. They use a DJI Osmo Mobile, like a little gimbal, and they learn some basic editing tricks, and they create videos that are 95% better than the rest of the industry. And some of this stuff is, some of it's creative. Some of it is, it's all innovation though. None of it's invention. It's all innovation. Like I didn't go and watch other realtors to figure out how to make cool real estate videos. I watched filmmakers. So I watched guys like Peter McKinnon and Matty Hapoya and Parker Walbeck, guys who created content that was, maybe it was like them filming a car or a wedding, or maybe they were filming like their trip or something. And I'm like, how can I get that kind of effect, that kind of mood, that kind of emotion, that kind of music all brought into a listing video? And that's really where what our package is now. Like, so our goal when we create a listing video is to basically have someone feel something by the end of it, like feel something about the property, right? Because, people shop with their wallets and they buy with their hearts. And so in a market like mine, where there's 7 homes for sale in a 3-block radius, 2-block radius, and let's say they're all equally priced, but let's say there's only 3 buyers. It's not necessarily that video is going to sell the home for so much more money, but I need one of those 3 buyers to come and see my property. Like I always tell my clients, and I think this is the big message for people, if you're using video in your business, tell your clients this as well, which is, I can't guarantee that they'll buy your house, but before they buy another house, I can guarantee in this community, they're going to say no to yours first. They have to say no to yours. It's fine if it's not the house for them, but they have to say no. It is not permissible to have someone go and buy around the corner and be like, geez, I didn't even know that property was for sale. Like, no, we have to expose it to as many people as possible. So I've got some very basic like ingredients, I think, for our video marketing. If you're doing video marketing and you're not in them, it's a complete waste of time, completely. You have got to be in them. And it's not, to pump your own tires or all that stuff. It's because it's your one opportunity to actually talk to the buyer. Like our statistic for 2020 is we've double-ended 22% of our deals in an industry that averages 4 to 5% for double-ending. That's a 5 times return on our efforts. So if you start to think like, well, what's the real return on this stuff? It's like, well, I don't know, if you double-ended an extra, say 8 deals this year, and that's an extra 6 figures in income for you. How could you not employ a full-time on-staff videographer? Could you not why wouldn't you be doing this? Right? Like
Oh, it's huge because you've done all the work to get the listing
Yeah.
and market the listing. It's just like, are we going to also represent the buyers or not? It's that's okay. That's big. Let's dive into that for a second.
Sure. Let's do it.
So are you finding that most of your clients that you attract through your YouTube videos, are they sellers or buyers? Or how does that all work?
Well, I mean, almost every buyer is almost every seller is a buyer first anyways. So
Yeah.
a lot of times it's people searching either for their first home or their next home. So I find it's kind of 50-50. But when we have something active in an area, other people are watching the market. Other homeowners are watching the market, and they're seeing who's putting in the work, who's doing something that's kind of unique or exceptional. And so they will then like reach out to us and say like, hey, we saw that video. Do you guys do that on everything? Or we really enjoy that, or we're not in the market right now, but we're thinking of making a change next year. Like the cool thing with video is because it has such a long tail, and when you bookend onto that YouTube, because it lives so long, the content lives so long versus something like Facebook or Instagram where it's out of the cycle within minutes, if not hours.
Yep.
What's great about that is that the work that I've done in the last 4 or 5 months, we're like, yes, it's helped sell some of those homes. And yes, it's probably attracts some of the clients I'm working with right now. But in reality, that's just adding on to stuff that's going to be coming in next spring and summer. Like, so we've got videos that we released 1.5 years ago that still are watched 5 hours on average every day. Like,
wow.
It's nuts, right?
Sure.
And these are slow growing. They're slow growing because YouTube will find a spot for content that is a good experience for their users to watch. And even if it takes a while, they will 4 months in, 5 months in, you'll start to see it's growing 10% every week. And all of a sudden you're getting 300-400 views a day on content that you made a long time ago. So there is huge value, long-lasting value in your personal brand growth through something like using listing videos on YouTube.
I've found myself, so you know Tim Smith in
Yes.
Newport Beach, amazing video producer agent. I'll watch some of his videos that are 3-4 years old, like, teach me how to Duffy, and some of those other creative ones. And like, so he's not in the video. He'll have actors or dancers in the video, and then he shows up at the end. Like he makes a cameo appearance, and that's enough because people are like, okay, that's the guy. Like,
yeah, it was exceptional. So
yeah,
they're looking around to see who this guy was. So
yeah,
Tim Smith is someone who, like, I've obviously taken some inspiration from because he does video at such a high level.
Also music videos is what they are.
Like this last year he did, he got number 1 on Brohm and Tom Ferry's sort of video influencer list. And I got number 3. And so there was 2 agents out of California.
Who was number 2?
Like another agent out of California. I'm trying to remember her name, but these are like $300 million teams. And they have video crews. Like he's got $10,000-$15,000 budgets for some of these things. It's me and my wife driving around getting different shots, like sitting on the side of the road getting a drone shot. And then the last 8 or 9 months now, I've had a young guy come on and work full time with me. Super talented. First 3 months, there was like no return on investment because he just sat beside me as we worked. And but now all of a sudden, it's like he sees our vision. He's able to get the stuff. I can trust him with the content that he's creating that's going to be our brand and style. But yeah, it's like it's allowed me to kind of get in front and also kind of craft a little bit more on the creative side, which is really like ultimately that stuff kind of fulfills me a bit. But you had talked about the book of it was Steal Like an Artist. Steal Like an Artist, yeah. So here's the book that I personally believe is the secret sauce to why we've had such a moment in our market. And that is Talk Triggers by Jay Bays. And so Talk Triggers is a book that essentially the whole thesis around it is that all businesses grow based on their sphere of influence, but not all businesses' sphere of influence grows at the same rate. So the sphere of influence, that if you want that to grow, what you really need is to have a talk trigger in your business, something that people talk about. So it gives this illustration of a hotel chain that when you check into the hotel, they give you a warm chocolate chip cookie, and how that chocolate chip cookie gets hashtagged more than any other, advertising campaign that hotel does. People look forward to it. They love it. It's $1 investment for them for each one of their clients. Not a big deal, but it's a talk trigger. It's something noteworthy. So to have a talk trigger in your business, it has to be noteworthy. It has to be exceptional. It has to be something that's surprising. For me, that's video. And that's why I won't just put out a just sold. I'll create a little 20-second video vignette of the family, playing guitar and their little newborn baby sitting on their lap because we just sold their house, and saying stuff like, she'll probably never remember this house. And then like a picture of their parents, like looking at her in slow motion, but they'll never forget it. Right. Congratulations on moving on. Like the thing is I deeply care about those people. I do. It's like we all care about our clients. And so I don't think I'm unique in that way, but because I've been continually working on telling a story in a more meaningful way, it's starting to give me some distance between me and my competition, at least in my market. And that's really the goal, right? Like is to have something that gets people's attention. Like you look at a just sold on someone's Instagram and it gets like 12 likes.
Yep.
12 likes. And you know what? If the algorithm on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, if it stops showing your stuff because it was a bad experience the last time it showed your stuff, it's only because it's optimized for humans, because they know that that's what humans don't want to do. Like humans don't want to interact and engage with someone who the last experience was a bad experience. So the algorithm is learning from humans, right? Like you go hang out with a friend and they're negative all the time. They just talk about other people and you're like, I don't need this in my life. Like maybe they're just off, but you're not naturally gravitating to being around them or that stuff anymore either. So every time you post low quality content, you might think like the Gary Vee content. I kind of disagree. I think, yeah, content, but bring value or entertain them or do something. Because if there's so much noise and if you're not cutting through it, if what you're doing isn't sort of exceptional in the content creation game, then I actually think that you're going to spend all this time and energy and you're going to be like, why am I not getting the same results as everyone else or the same results that these leaders in the space do, right?
I want to, so you kind of, something fell into my lap here and I cannot lose this opportunity for a shameless plug for the Massive Agent Daily social media app. So massiveagentdaily.com. Because you're right, agents post pure bullshit that you get 12 likes. 2 of those are courtesy likes from the seller and your spouse. The others are bots because you used hashtag realtor like an idiot. and so like you don't really have 12 people actually liking it. This is such an important concept. And so I want to come back to the YouTube algorithm and how it works. And you kind of explained earlier how stuff will snowball over time, where a video you did 8 months prior is now just growing. Like the viewership just grows. You have to understand what the social networks want. And YouTube, this is so true on YouTube because it's all video, but Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, what do they want? And some of you guys have seen the video that I've put out on Instagram, and I'm actually running a Facebook ad with this video too. If you do what the social networks want, they will reward you. They will show your content to more people, but you have to back up and realize what the hell they want. Well, they want people to stay on the platform. When people stay on the platform for long periods of time, that social network can show more ads to those users and they make more money. So if you as a content creator are putting out videos or doing posts or, even on Facebook, when you say like, what are you most thankful for this Thanksgiving? And you get 60 comments, Facebook's like, wow, this user can get people engaged, which keeps them on the platform. And so over time, if you have engaging content regularly, you're training the algorithms that, hey, this is good stuff. This content provider has good stuff. Let's show their future posts to more people organically because they're going to have more engaged people. The opposite is true. And that's why if you are constantly posting about real estate bullshit, that's why no one ever sees your stuff. And so YouTube is one of those places where I've heard this, and I want to really get specific on the YouTube algorithm and some YouTube hacks, because I've had a few people in reviews or comments are like, look, I know I should do video, but let's get into the how. Like I want the meat and potatoes. So
Sure.
we're gonna freaking give it to them.
Let's do it.
YouTube, like, is it true that longer videos work better than shorter ones? Because if people are watching longer, YouTube can show more ads. YouTube's going to reward that video creator. It's longer, they want to sell more ads and make more money. Is that true? And then how do you take that principle and factor it into, people's attention spans? It's a listing video. It's not a, hour and a half tutorial.
It's an ad. It's we're creating ads, and then YouTube, if you do it well enough, will pay you to put ads before your ads to sell that house. Like that's the way this kind of this whole thing works. So so first,
do you do that right now? Do you monetize your videos?
I do. Yeah. So
nice.
we generate with 3,400 subs and about 40,000 views a month. We generate like $130 a month. But the cool thing is that about every 5 or 6 months, the channel doubles. Right. So it's not a big deal the first few times it doubles, but when it starts getting $1,500 to $3,000 a month, it starts to become real. Like that starts to be like, oh, okay, great. Like that's my mortgage is paid for stuff that videos I made to sell homes a year and a half ago. Okay. But to get back to answering your question, the best way to sort out the algorithm is to always optimize for the human experience. That's it. And it's true with real estate. It's true with video and content creation. It's true with your friendships. It's all one question. There's only one question that the whole market is concerned with always is what in the hell is in it for them if they work with you, if they watch your videos, right? If they talk to you, if they hang out with you. Like what's in it for them? At the end of the day, that's what people are concerned with. And agents spend a lot of time creating a lot of content and doing a lot of their stuff is built around this idea that they're bringing value that the people that are watching it don't see. They don't see the value in it, right? And so the agents will keep talking about it. And the more someone keeps talking about it, the more the audience checks out. So with our videos, we have a very simple sort of approach to it. We watch the analytics on every one of my listing videos and we try to learn a lesson from it. And because there's so much to think about when you do video, we sometimes remake the same old mistakes. The video, like 30 seconds into a 5-minute video, it dips to black and then a new shot fades in. Well, 12% of your audience is gone. Great. Good. That 3 seconds where it looked like the video was ending before you were changing scenes, just a little thing in editing, drops people. You had some really sexy B-roll of this gorgeous $3 million home, but no one was doing a voiceover or on camera. Yeah, people tuned out because people aren't into sexy shots of beautiful homes. They want context. Why is this cool? Why should I care about this? What is interesting? You need to tell them. It's the whole call to action theory in marketing. It's like the whole video has to be a call to action. When you create a video, the first 4 to 5 seconds needs to have a human in it. And they need to tell you what the value is to that viewer really quickly. And if that value is not strong enough, that viewer is on to something else. So
that's an example.
The hook, right? So you've never seen, like you might say something like, I've been in a lot of $1 million homes in this city. I've never seen anything with an ensuite like this. So then, okay, people are great. Like, okay, I'll stick around for the ensuite. That's a weak hook, but any kind of hook that's built around whatever story you want to tell, it's huge, right? So when you have their attention, that first 5 seconds, you haven't bought 5 minutes of their attention. You've bought only the next 10 seconds. And then if that next 10 seconds validates, was worth it, there was enough of a good experience for them, you buy the next 30. And it kind of goes like that. As soon as you can get them in for a minute, you've got them for the whole, you can have them for 15 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you made the video. But you need to capture that first 30 to 45 seconds. And it's like literally when you watch a video that the people that, made it the first 30 seconds are at 55% viewership, it only drops down to 42% viewership 7 minutes later. That means what you need to do is figure out how to make that 55% 30 seconds in be 65%. right? That's how you can take 20% gains on your viewership right there. Just figure out how to make it more interesting. That means a stronger hook, more compelling visuals, a better storytelling element, something like that will get you greater viewership. And when you actually see the viewership line kind of cast on this sort of slow grade down, then you realize like, okay, this is how much extra viewing and hours. And you actually start to see on the analytics side of like how one 5-minute video constructed better versus another 5-minute video that wasn't constructed quite as well will get over time hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more hours of viewing, even if the video that I like is, subject B, because I liked the shots or I liked how we performed in it. If the audience thought video A was better, then yeah, they're right. The audience is always right. The client
Absolutely. So when you are doing these videos, so let's go to the beginning, because most people listening are not established YouTubers or video creators, but they want to. A lot of this I'm sure you learned as you went along. I've learned to consider certain things as I go along, and I'm far from perfect on this stuff, but you've got to realize you have to hook people in the first few seconds or they're gone.
Yeah.
What would you give to somebody, like knowing what you know now about how to construct a video in the right way, whether it's for YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever? Let's say it's just a 3-minute video.
Yeah.
An average 3-minute video. What would you tell somebody who's just starting that they need to consider, that they need to plan on, that they need to, without overdoing it to the point where they're like, okay, this is too much. Like, this is why you don't do video in the first place. I can't do all this shit. Right.
Yeah. So, well, what I'd say is that, to be quite honest, as fun and exciting as I think the listing videos are that we do, the real thing that if you watch our videos that you'll notice is there's like an energy about them. Like
Yes.
Realtor just wrote a book called Big Money Energy. I'm a big believer, like not in the spiritual sense of energy, but like in the real, just human sense. Like I'm attracted to people who are passionate about something, right? Like I might not be into kayaking, but if you tell me for 20 minutes over a beer how great kayaking is, I'm going to be like, I don't know, maybe I should buy a kayak, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm attracted to people who've got something kind of going on or something really into. So I think energy is the thing. Now, if you're a brand new creator and you want to like start creating content and you don't have a bunch of listings, the reality is all you need to do is set up a home studio. Invest in some basic lighting for a couple $100, a mic for $50 to $100. Use your iPhone to begin with, eventually graduate to something that's worth $1,000 that can give you a little bit of depth of field, but create a studio space that removes the barriers for you to actually start sitting down and creating content. One little spot in your house doesn't have to be much. It can be a blank wall, painted dark with a lamp and a plant. And that could be maybe the whole thing. But get in there and talk about something that matters to your audience. So you're in South Carolina, talk about the market in South Carolina. Talk about the pros and cons of North Carolina versus South Carolina. I don't know the area very well, but but talk about those things. What's the cost of living, right? What's the best, the pros and cons of living in one place? What's the top 5 things you hate about living there? What are the top 5 things you love about living there? The kind of stuff that people who are relocating to the area might be interested in. That kind of stuff, you can create good quality because you've created a studio space. You've controlled a lot of the variables, and it's the variables that are hard, like lighting and sound and all that stuff with video. And then just get on there and talk about it. And then, leverage things like Fiverr if you want to use, if you want to make a little intro or if you want to add some graphics. But really, all you have to do is create content around what people are searching in a Google search bar. If they are writing like moving to Calgary, then you better have a video titled Moving to Calgary. Cost of living in Calgary, well, you better have where best communities to live in Calgary. Like Google will tell you what your top 5 videos should be, and it should be based on what questions Google users are asking. That is the best way to do it.
And I mean, I don't know anything. I don't need to do the keyword research to know that everyone should be doing a moving to insert market here video article with a video embedded in it. Unbelievable. I've done I've told the audience before about my moving to Salt Lake City article that I did that brought in well over 6 figures in commission directly just because of that. It was number one on Google for a couple of years. And it was like a 6,000 word article. I didn't even embed a video. I was lazy. I didn't even do a video for it.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that was a big mistake, but just the article was everything. So I don't care where you're at, guys. Yeah. Moving to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, create a video for that. Create an, if you don't want to do video, do an article, do something.
And so what have we all tried to do? We've all tried to figure out like, how do we get on that first page of Google, right? Like, what is that? Like, that would be really beneficial to my business to be first page of Google, like search engine optimized, right? So we figure out how to keyword our websites and metadata and meta tags and all this stuff. That's not what we do, right? We talk about communities, we talk about areas, we talk about the benefits of the city all the time with the people we're driving around with. So the cool thing is that Google's figured out that video has value. So when you go and search something now on Google, they're serving up YouTube answers to your Google search query in the Google search results. Yep. So if you want to bypass all the agents that have spent tens of thousands of dollars getting themselves right to that spot as the search result, well, you can do so by just having the relevant video that answers their question, because that's how people prefer to consume their content these days. And as great as I think video is, and as many agents are doing it in their market, it's still a wide open lane for people to start doing right now, because you have a unique perspective, you have an opinion, you have something that's uniquely you. That's why your clients are already working with you. You just need 10 times more people to know that you exist. That's it.
That is it, man. And, that kind of brings it back full circle to what you were saying before. And also you mentioned this, but I want to make sure everyone really gets the Cliff's notes. The topic is most important. Okay. What the video is about is everything. It could be subpar on a shitty, iPhone 5. It's not like an iPhone 5 was shitty, but it is compared to, if it only has 2 cameras, it's a piece of shit. It needs 3 cameras, right? I'm being dead serious. It needs 3 cameras.
Yeah.
But you could just have some subpar video, but if the topic is perfect and people actually want to learn about it and you become a resource for that topic or that headline or that keyword, it's going to do well. It's going to be one of your best pieces of content. But so many of us focus on production quality. Oops. Speaking of production quality, it's shit when I hit my mic. Yeah. Production quality. Bam. By having fancy mics, fancy, gimbals and Ronin, all this shit that I don't even know what a Ronin is. I've just heard that they're awesome. Is it a gimbal or a freaking camera?
It's a gimbal. It's a gimbal.
It's a gimbal. Okay. I thought it was a camera. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, take over, dude. I was about to go on some rant and I don't even know where it was going to end.
No, I was going to say, you know what? I think the real key to all of this stuff is the mistake that if you're a brand new video creator, the mistake that you're going to make is you're going to think that the thing that is attractive to your audience is to be a reporter. So you'll stand outside of a business or you'll stand outside of a school or you'll stand outside of a house and you'll be a bad reporter, right? It looks like a bad cable news reporter. So don't do that. The thing that actually is going to be attractive to them, to your audience, is uniquely your opinion on it. Your opinion, you're joking, you're my wife and I, we just recently did a video. It's Italian themed because we're selling in a community called Tuscany. Totally dorky, right? And at the end of the video, I say, Tila, grazie for joining me. And she says, prego. And I'm like, you're what? And she's like, no, it means you're welcome, Brad. I'm not pregnant. And I was like, oh, I knew that. All right, just completely dorky. Probably not the guy you want to represent your $2 million house, except for the fact that people who have millions of dollars and who are wealthy and luxury estates, you know what they want to work with? People they like. They just want to work with people they like, people that they don't mind being around, that they can stomach. And I tell you, I always think of it, all these luxury producers that really put all their value is in the brands they wear, the car they drive, and just how posh they are. I just think all the time, you're a pretender. The guy who's got $40, $50 million is not blown away by your love of nice brand names. Like, they still want to work with someone who can deliver the goods, like make my place look sexy, sell for as high as you possibly can. And people love that we're enjoying what we're doing. And like, we have no problem doing that. And what's really funny about video, and I figured it out on Saturday night, I rarely go live. And all because I just think, what the heck's in it for them? Like, what's in it for the person who's watching us? But Saturday night, quarantine in our city, lockdown, me and my son are sitting by the computer. So I go live, and I just was, I was in a good mood. I was kind of chatting about, I was like, I've got some ideas for some videos coming up, kind of curious what you guys are thinking. In that 25-minute live, there was 15 to 20 people watching continually. There was so many comments, and I would say there were at least 5 comments from people who are like, hey, Brad, you don't even know it yet because you haven't met us, but we're buying a home with you in spring 2021. We found your YouTube channel, followed you on Instagram. Like, if people like you, like, they will go down the rabbit hole of seeking out like your stuff, right?
Yes.
Right. There doesn't matter how much friction there is if they think of you that way. And then a builder gets on there and is like, Brad, we've got a huge amount of condos and new subdivisions coming online. We've been talking about your content in our marketing meetings. There's a couple of projects we'd like you to actually lead up for us. Reach out to us this week. And I was like, great, that sounds fantastic. Right after I got off the live, he had already messaged me like, I'm serious about that. Let's chat this upcoming week on it. And it's like, but that's the power of it. Like, so many agents will do 2 or 3 months of video and then give up because they haven't seen the return. They haven't had the person. The audience is they're just watching. So you just have to decide, do you want to send out, how many 30 touches do you want to do in a year, right? Like, how many of those do you want to do versus like a cold call or all that stuff? Every time I post on Instagram, every time I post on YouTube, every one of those is a touch. Like, it's always a touch. And so that's the whole unlock for agents that are also creators, is that they don't have to go and do the other stuff. And because I can tell you, me calling 100 developers to ask them for their business, like, hey, I'd love, I understand you guys build 15 to 20 homes a year, would love to be involved. That's worth like virtually nothing compared to the one developer that calls me and says, we've been watching your stuff. We'd love to have you come in and sit down and show you what we've got coming up in 2021.
Yes.
Like, that's it. And then you find out soon enough, you're busy enough working with those calls that you don't have time to make the others.
Yes. And it's funny to me how some people see it as one or the other, that you can either create content or cold call or door knock or whatever. And, you mentioned Ricky Caruth earlier, and I respect the shit out of him. I like him. His system works. I think what is missing from the conversation is, let's say all you're going to do is circle prospect around an area. You use RedX, you get the phone numbers, you follow his system, you call everybody, right? Well, what if you call people and those people have seen you on video 7, 8, 9, 15 other times in the last 6 months? Yeah. And then you call them and your name rings a bell, or they just remember and they're like, oh my God, like I was watching your YouTube video last week, Brad. And now you call, you're going to convert so many more of those people.
Absolutely.
And so like, it doesn't need to be one or the other. If you just do one or the other, you could have an amazing, lucrative career. Yeah. But my God, if you can marry the two together, amazing. But dude, it's cool to see how you've grown your brand and, getting recognized by the Bomb video influencer, whatever. Number 3, you got robbed. I want to recount. I demand a recount.
Tim's pretty good.
Tim's pretty good. But the number 2 spot, I'm going to contest that.
Sure.
I do not believe it. # rigged. But you've done some really cool stuff, man. And it seems like you're having fun in the videos. So I haven't watched like all of them. I've watched, 5 or 6 of your videos, and every single one, your personality comes through. You're having fun. There was one I saw that you were riding around, like, I don't even know what those are called, a little one wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were riding that around, and they're nice homes. You have this cool, like, cinematography going on. And it's like, okay, this is different. This is like a next level type of thing. And then you shine. So you nail the topic and you nail just being yourself and having fun, and it works. And you haven't been an agent for 20 years and it's working. I can only imagine, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, how how much more of your market you will be known in, and dominate. Have you been recognized, when you go to the grocery store or whatever?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've been
Yeah.
recognized. Well, it's kind of the way it goes. Is like first all the agents notice, right?
Mhm.
Because they're always watching what everyone else is doing. So agents in my market reach out all the time. And then now we'll go out restaurants and we'll go out to the grocery store and we'll get seen. People will see our stuff, and you have no, my wife went into I don't know, like a dental cleaning, and the dentist is like, I've seen you on YouTube. Yeah, we're thinking about making a move next year. Your husband's a realtor, right? Is Brad McCallum, right? And you're like, that's nuts, right? Like, do you think they would just remember the cold call? But to your point, like with Ricky's systems that he talks about, this is sort of the next level, right? Like I've got a teammate, and I would like her to have as many great warm leads as possible coming in. The problem with building a bit of personal brand and a bit of a celebrity around your brand, which is really what you can become as people start to look at you, which is crazy because I'm casting myself. Like no one's hiring me. No one made that decision but me. But what's wild about it is that you can actually, sorry, where was I going with this? Yeah, basically, you get that option of signing up, of saying that you're this guy. They will start to notice you and start to see it. But now if you can take that personal marketing, that personal brand, and then use it in typical cold lead generation methods, like, so everything that that works for you in your videos for organic growth, now all of a sudden, like, those ads on Facebook that say, hey, view all homes, single family homes in Northwest Calgary for under $400,000, click here for the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if that's a video? What if it's a 10-second video, you and your teammate just saying, hey guys, I'm Brad McCallum, and this is a list of all available homes for under $400,000 in Northwest Calgary. It's crazy to even think that you can get into a place like that. Check them out. There's some awesome value on that list. And then reach out to us if you have any questions, right? They watch that video. That converts way more than just a basic text or the basic same kind of real estate ad. Converts way deeper. And then they can hopefully, if there's no extra value from that ad, they remember you and your name. So it's like, get that kind of content. Use the same video that you're using for your studio, for your office, for your listing videos, for that organic content. Just use it in 10 to 15 second increments in paid advertising and do that cold outreach. And you're still just going to get extra recognition for your brand. And one of the things that I always tell people is, like, YouTube advertising is Facebook targeting from a few years ago, but way cheaper. Like, so I can promote one of my 7-minute videos, and I can buy someone in my market's attention for 3.5 minutes, on an average 50% of it, for 1 penny.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
So think about that. Like, what is that? Like, how much is 3.5?
Is that pre-roll?
That's pre-roll and right. What is it?
Mid-roll?
Yeah, the in
or in stream or whatever they call it.
Stream. Yeah, I think that's yeah. And people will watch it, and that's why, like, if I've got a video that's performing really well organically, I know right away, like, this is a great one to go and boost elsewhere. But YouTube is also one of those things that once you promote one of your videos, they don't penalize that video in any way organically, and they don't penalize any of your other videos. They're not like, oh, Facebook, it's now pay to play. Let's make, if he wants it to be seen by anyone, let's always make him pay. YouTube's different that way. Like, you can just promote one of your videos for, $5 a day and buy, like, oh my gosh, like 500-600 views for $5 at 3 to 4 minutes a view. Like, I would do that all day long. And the cool thing is because, I might have spent 15 or 20 hours creating that video. This is how I want everyone to see it. Like, I want everyone to see it. So why not get the extra exposure? So we've sometimes, like, when we've just had nothing better to do, or we had, no better thoughts, original thoughts, we've just taken some of our videos that we've got, our listing videos, and just promoted them. And, we'll put $20 at it, and it'll get like 2,000 views for that. You don't build subscribers, and you don't generally build engagement as an ad, but it also doesn't penalize you those views. And so there's a bunch of things about YouTube that is crazy when you start to unlock it. So now what we're doing is creating content for pre-roll ads to get them to take some kind of other ad. But like, we just recently did a video for a community, and the developers on that community, they simply said to me after they watched the video, we love the video. We've watched it like a bunch of times. They're like, yeah, there's a few parts where it's not like really corporate-y. Like it's definitely more kind of personal and stuff. But like for some reason we like that more. Like we like that. Like and it was like, yeah, that's the secret sauce. The thing that makes Dustin is the thing that Brad could never ever reproduce, right? So if you're gonna start doing this stuff, like whatever you're into, whatever your hobby is, share it with your audience, infuse it into it. If you're a goof, if you're serious, if you're into music, whatever it is, just infuse your personality into your videos and create content that your clients and that your audience wants to engage with. Like that's how you win. That's the recipe.
The magic is your personality and allowing personal connections to happen. And it's so important. And this is hard in the beginning, especially for those that are nervous to hit record on the video. Being okay with the fact that not everyone who sees it is going to like you. Some of them will dislike you. Some of them will think that you, Brad, are unprofessional, or you're not dressed the way they think you should be dressed, or you're overdressed or underdressed or whatever. Yeah. Or they don't like the way you say things. They don't like your accent if you have one. Like you're just not their cup of tea. Well, that happens to me a lot. Like I have my personality is not for everybody, but I got okay with that once I realized I do attract the right people who do connect with my personality and find me likable, or they think I'd be fun to work with. So you just have to be okay with repelling some people to attract the right people.
Yeah.
And that is what happens. And it happens every freaking time you publish a video. And the more videos you put out, the more personal connections happen. You just have to be okay with the fact, repel some people to attract the right people. And if you can do that and then consistently get better, man, it's the sky is the limit. Video has been huge for me and my brand, both locally with my real estate business and, with the massive agent business and brand. It's incredible. And you can do so much with so little money. It's crazy, man. I really appreciate you coming to share your wisdom on YouTube, because you're doing video in such a, you're doing it so well. I don't know why I paused that long just to come up with the word well, but you're doing it at such a high level. It's creative, but it's authentic to you in a way that like, I feel almost like I'm watching HGTV quality stuff. Yeah. But also like so freaking laid back too, that it's not pretentious. So everybody should go watch some of your videos. What's your channel? How do they find you? Yeah, just type my name into YouTube and I'll pop up. It's Brad McCallum, Calgary Realtor. But if you put in Brad McCallum, you'll see my channel show up straight away. I'll link to it in the show notes too. So wherever you guys are listening to this, pop into the show notes and there will be a direct link to Brad's YouTube channel. Finish the thought there, and then I want to do the rapid fire questions and we'll wrap it up. For sure. And I was going to say, one of the things that follow me on Instagram at brad.mccallum.remax, or follow me over at on my YouTube channel. Something I've been working on for a little while now is actually putting together a real estate filmmaking course. I've been for years now. I've done some mentoring, some actually paid coaching and mentorship this last year with some big teams across North America. But then people hit me up, in the DMs all the time, like, hey, what camera settings? How did you shoot this? Where did you learn to edit? All that stuff. I watched thousands of videos, thousands and thousands of hours of videos to teach myself this stuff. So I've been slowly putting together the beginnings of basically a real estate filmmaking course. Like there's so many courses on how to get great leads. There's so many courses on like how to, convert YouTube, convert Facebook, convert all this, but there's very few that actually teach you only the bits that you need to know on these complicated pieces of technology, like just the few buttons you need to know in your Adobe Premiere editing software, or the few buttons you need on the camera. So I've got a real estate filmmaking course I'm kind of working out. I've got a decent waiting list of people who are waiting for kind of updates on that. So reach out to me if you're interested in that kind of thing. It's just kind of the easy button, go through all that stuff. It's still going to be a lot of work. It's not going to be none of these are hacks. It's just the stuff you need to know in order to create content that will separate you from the rest of your market. Yeah, it's a jump start, or not even a jump start, but like you're taking everything, you're condensing it, and you're saying, here, follow this blueprint instead of like the one you followed, which had a lot of learning and bullshit and distractions and stuff that's outdated and doesn't even work anymore. Like there's a lot of courses and content out there. YouTube especially, YouTube and Facebook ads and anything that has like technical settings required, or like SEO type stuff, that's just outdated. Like it could have been 6 months ago and now it's completely outdated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it out there.
The cool thing is once you know how to make content that people actually enjoy watching, you don't actually need to know all the hacks, right? Because if you know all the hacks and you make content that people don't enjoy watching, none of those hacks will work.
Great point.
This is it's the playbook on what we do to get cinematic shots, get cool business, how to leverage that to work with builders, how to offer more value to your clients. And then of course, in the end, build a stronger personal brand. That's through video, of course, right? There's a lot of guys that, that do and that create really impressive content. But for the last few years, I've taken as much inspiration as value of giving back to that through different Facebook groups like RATV and some of them out there, some of the people have really kind of trailblazed it. So yeah, it's been fun. I love being a part of it and I'm excited. I'm super excited about 2021. Super excited for it.
Oh, dude. Yes. And congrats on putting a course together. I think that's going to be top notch. I mean, just awesome. All anyone has to do is go watch one of your videos and they'll be like, oh, okay. If it's like that, we should probably do that.
Cool.
That's cool. All right, dude. Every episode we do some rapid fire questions. They're either or questions. Pick one or the other. You don't need to elaborate on them if you don't want to. And then at the end, I'll ask a couple open-ended questions and we'll wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram.
Instagram or YouTube?
It's like a tie for me. That's
really?
a tie.
Okay.
Instagram is a business that I'm doing right now, today. YouTube is business I'm eventually rolling over to Instagram and doing in the future. So it's just kind of, eggs in my basket right now through Instagram, people through the DMs, through the content that gets them there and then leads them to YouTube. It's like TikTok. The whole purpose of building an audience in these short form platforms is to get them over to your long form content or get them to reach out. One of the two.
I'm glad you elaborated on that. That's a good point. Books or podcasts?
Oh, podcasts or Audible.
Okay. Next question is podcasts or audiobooks?
Oof. I hate to say it. It's probably podcasts still.
I think so. There's always new, fresh, up to date, up to the second content out there. An audiobook, you publish it once and and it's every day that goes by, it's older.
A great book could be ruined by a bad narrator.
True. True.
Man, don't like that guy.
Absolutely true. iPhone or Android?
Oh, iPhone all the way.
There you go. Two cameras or three.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got two on this guy, but I got the iPhone 12 Pro Max coming in a few days.
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy. Just like the low light stuff, it's mind boggling. Alexa or Google Home?
Ooh, we're Alexa. Yeah.
My kids love Alexa. It's funny. We were driving. Where are we going? We're going to some playground yesterday, and my son had a question, and my wife and I were like, "We don't know." He's like, "Alexa, what is blah blah blah?" And we're like, "We're in the car."
Yeah.
He's like, he's so smart though. He's like, "Well, why don't you get Alexa in the car?"
Yeah.
Because you can. I mean, he asked the right questions.
Right before we started this recording, I actually had to tell Alexa to stop playing Taylor Swift because that's what my daughter was pumping right before we hit record.
Ban this artist from this device, Alexa.
Exactly.
Yeah. Burgers or pizza?
Probably pizza. Yeah.
New York or LA?
New York.
Vancouver or Toronto?
Vancouver.
Okay. I've never been to either one. Damn it. It looks absolutely amazing. But wasn't Tron Legacy filmed in Vancouver?
I think so. Yeah. Vancouver's got a huge film scene.
Does it?
Yeah.
It looks incredible. I want to go there. NFL or NBA?
Man, NBA. Sorry, the 90s, the Bulls. Yeah.
Back to the NBA hoops cards era. Dude, the NBA in the 90s was badass. Okay, NHL or NBA?
Yeah, probably NBA. I've never been a hockey guy, even though I'm in Canada.
I totally stereotyped you. I'm like
I was like,
Canadian. I've got to ask a hockey question.
I was the last guy out of the group to learn how to skate, and it's like the last guy doing video in your market. You don't want to be that guy. I was just like, oh, forget it.
Isn't it true that every Canadian has a frozen lake in the backyard?
You know,
like
my neighbors right now have a full on rink with lights and everything on it. Yeah.
No shit. That's awesome.
Serious.
That is awesome. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
No.
I live by the mountain, so I'm ready for some beach.
You're right outside Banff National Park, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's about a 45-minute drive from my door.
Dude, that does not suck at all.
It's nice. It's gorgeous.
I haven't been there, but like I'm 5 hours from Jackson Hole and the Grand Tetons.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty close, but like I can't imagine being 45 minutes. Like 45 minutes away is Park City for me.
See, we got friends right now that are out like snowboarding today and skiing today. It's like that, like, yeah, because it's like $300, $400 for a year pass, and you can just go to these parks every day. It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Podcasts or vlogs?
Oof. I'm a vlog guy, man. If it's video, I'm in. Count me in. Like Casey Neistat, best vlogger of all time, best storyteller of all time.
I was just going to ask, whose vlog is your favorite to watch? Would it be his?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Uber or Lyft?
You know what? I've only ever used Uber once. I don't know.
Okay.
I live in a city where we got to drive all the time. So we actually I don't know, we were kind of late to figuring it out, like just a few months ago.
Better late than never. It's crazy. Every time I travel, like I don't even consider renting cars anymore. It's like, how long is the Uber ride? How much does that cost? Sometimes it's like,
that makes sense, actually.
yeah, it's so much easier. Gary V or Grant Cardone?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I agree with Gary V's philosophies. I really tire quickly of listening to him talk or do an interview. He just over talks over everyone.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I like Cardone though. Like Cardone gets a little bit of slack from people, but I don't mind him. I still think he's got a lot of great value to bring in his approach.
He does. I think his 10X book is one of the best books I've read on, just attention marketing. It's genius. But yeah. See, and you've probably heard this before. Grant Cardone's personality is what I like. I just don't like it. His content's great, personality not so much. But that's a totally fair criticism of Gary V. That is the downside of that 10X, like, be absolutely everywhere at all times mentality that they both have. The downside is sometimes people get sick of you and just don't want to see it anymore. So whatever. Most impactful book you've ever read or listened to?
You know what? I wish it had more of a lasting effect on me. But I'd say it's probably a tie between 4-Hour Workweek. It just changed the way I imagined the world. Like it just was like, hey, you can actually set the rules this way. And you're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And now to be doing something that I'm super passionate about, that doesn't feel like work. I feel like I'm starting to understand the principles behind it. And then the other book, of course, is like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Read it when I was like 25. And, it took about 15 years to start really incorporating what I learned from it. So even though I'm not a big Kiyosaki fan, I'd say the book and the principles and the stories inside of it, really good. Once again, though, Kiyosaki, he used that book to tell stories, and that's what everyone remembered. And they remembered the principles because they, identified with the storytelling of it. So that storytelling is sort of the next thing. Like Story Brand was an amazing book as well, like an incredible book. But that's sort of the next dragon for us to slay, is just like, how do we get better? How do we continually get better at telling stories? Like the better we can do that, the more we're going to win in our marketing. Yes.
And like storytelling doesn't come naturally to me, at least in content, but it's something I'm becoming more conscious of. Like, okay, if I want to accomplish this, if I want to get this message across, how can I get it into a story? Yeah. And push it across that way, because stories are so much more effective, because rather than telling people things, they're like listening along with you, I guess.
Yeah.
Good recommendations.
Awesome.
So lastly, where can they find you? One more time, name of your channel, Instagram handle. And again, guys, we'll put those links in the show notes. So just click over to the show notes wherever you're listening to this.
Cool. Yeah. Once again, I think the best place to follow me are probably Instagram at brad.mccallum.remax or on YouTube at Brad McCallum, Calgary Realtor. You can also check me out on Facebook. Hook me up there. Chat with a lot of people on Messenger all the time. And that's just also Brad McCallum Remax.
Awesome. Brad, thank you so much, man. Anyone listening, go watch some of his videos. You don't need to watch all of them. You don't need to spend an hour watching them. But
I'd appreciate it if you did, though.
But maybe you should. That would help you within the algorithm, no doubt. You just do great stuff, man. And so I was excited to kind of hear how you've been able to do it, why you do it, because you've figured it out fairly quickly. Where there's a lot of YouTube creators that still haven't figured it out, that do well, that do really, really freaking well, and your stuff is just better. So,
listen, Dustin, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate all that you've done for the industry, continually bringing people on, sharing it all, like without charge to all of us. This has been this is a real moment in my career to be able to be on Massive Agent Podcast. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for saying that. That's cool. Brad, appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Guys, I know that I've been saying this for months and months. This is a commitment that I'm making publicly here on the show because I need to get my ass in gear. I need to get on the YouTube game. I'm not doing YouTube at all, really, aside from publishing this podcast every week. It just kind of automatically goes out in some little waveform deal. And, we get 10 to 60 listens on each podcast episode on YouTube. But I do so much video content. And if you guys have been following me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, you know that I've been doing a new micro content type video every single day, and at least 5 days a week. And I have so much video content. I have a great video team now that I've hired to, take the video that I do and chop it up and, make it all nice. I can do YouTube. I just need to make that commitment. So I'm making the commitment now that here in the next month or so, I'm going to make the commitment, but leave it a little open-ended, kind of chicken shit there, admittedly. I'm going to get on the YouTube game and really commit to it because seeing the success Brad has just in his local market and with all the video I already do with the podcast and everything, I need to be doing YouTube. It's such a massive, massive opportunity, and it's one that I've been squandering. So this episode made me realize that yet again. This is not the first YouTube or video focused episode we've done. It's not going to be the last, but this one really fired me up seeing that he does such an amazing job and he does it all himself. So yeah. Well, guys, as I mentioned before we started the interview, I get asked quite a bit for recommendations on products and services that real estate agents use. So I get asked most about CRMs. I get asked about Facebook ads and lead gen. And what the hell? I thought I turned off my notifications. Oh, it's Facebook. So here's what's weird. On Macs, even though I hit do not disturb because I have a Facebook tab open in my Chrome browser, I get a little Facebook ding. So mute site. All right. Let's see if I can get my ass back on track here. Yes, I get asked about Facebook ads and lead generation and what should I use? Should I learn it myself? Should I not? Can I hire somebody else? Here's what I'll say about that, guys. I'm a huge, huge fan of Facebook ads. Our Facebook ads training and coaching program is called the Massive Agent Society, and the goal is to teach you how to control your ability to get leads, teaching you how to run Facebook ad campaigns by yourself so you don't have to pay someone else to do it for you. And more importantly, or equally as important, it teaches you how to do good stuff, like what kind of ads you should run, okay? The mechanical setup of the ad is super time consuming, but there's not a lot of creativity involved in the mechanics of setting it up, running it, managing it, and staying on top of it. That's not a creative thing. What is creative is knowing which ads are going to work and how to do that, how to write a headline, how to write a description, how to choose a call to action for your ad. And that's what we teach you in the Massive Agent Society. But ever since episode, what was it? Let me look it up here. episode 149 with Grant Wise called the Problem with Facebook Ads. He talked about the easy button for setting up your ads and managing it and staying on top of it. Okay. It automates it. He's built a platform called Whitley that I cannot recommend highly enough. Okay. So Whitley is something that I believe in so much that, like, even though I have a Facebook ads training program that teaches you how to do it all, I still see such huge value in the automation side of managing the ad and creating it that I'm recommending his service. Like, I think you guys should strongly look into Whitley. It's a great investment. The only person who shouldn't is somebody who really enjoys setting up the ad from scratch every single time and getting into all those details. I'm one of those people. I enjoy that, but it's because I know how. So if you're like, look, I need to get some real estate leads, I need to get new conversations started with buyers and sellers, and I cannot pay some agency to do it, or you won't, which is a good idea. A good idea not to, I mean. It's wise that you aren't willing to pay someone else to manage your shit. But then you're also like, well, crap, okay, I know I need to do this, but what ads should I run? I don't want to just waste a bunch of money testing stuff and, may or may not even do it right. Even though in the Massive Agent Society, we tell you what to do, Whitley does it for you. Okay. So you need to have a general understanding of what to do. Okay. Which ads to run, what the ad should be about, the title, the headline, which photos or video, which creative you should put in the ads. You need to know that. But then you just throw it into the Whitley platform and it does it for you. It's incredible. It saves you so much damn time. So what I've learned is you got to have the knowledge on how to create effective ads to do what you want them to do, whether that's growing your brand, getting more people to see you, getting your sphere of influence to see you more often in their news feeds, which is a great idea with video retargeting, something we talked about in episode 149. Or you just want to get leads from people that don't even know you yet. Cool. You need to know how to do that. And then you can use a platform like Whitley for a hell of a lot less than hiring an agency or even hiring an assistant to do it for you. You can use that platform to save you a bunch of time to just do the ads. You tell it what to do and it does it. So I highly recommend, guys, you go check out Whitley, massiveagentpodcast.com/Whitley. That's WITLY, massiveagentpodcast.com/Whitley. And if you use that link, you can get a free trial to use it. Completely free trial. Go use our link, try it out. And, if you're still like, well, crap, this is great, but what kind of ads should I be running? Go to massiveagentsociety.com. Check out our program. We'll show you what to do. We have a database of ads that you can copy and paste, and they're proven to work all over the country for buyers, for sellers, for promoting listings, for promoting and growing your brand, all of the above. But I highly recommend the Massive Agent Society and Whitley. If you are looking into the Massive Agent Society, since that's my program, that's the one that I run and I created, and you always have access to me in our coaching calls and within our members only Facebook group. Society membership is always free for those on my team. Okay, so my EXP team always gets free access, whether you're joining directly through me or through another member of our team. If you're on our team, you're going to get all the resources that I have to help you grow your business, to sell a bunch of homes, to be wildly successful. And that's something that I can provide if you're part of our team. So if you're looking at a better opportunity for 2021, we should definitely have a conversation. It's something that 2.5 years in to being with this brokerage, I really, knowing what I know now, the perspective that I have, seeing how it's played out, even just since February, how it's played out financially for me and my family, I think it is an absolute... I'm trying to reduce the hyperbole here so I don't sound like an absolute idiot or just like some hype guy. But anyone who hasn't really taken the time to look at eXp Realty, whether you're happy where you're at or not, doesn't matter. You should be looking at the eXp opportunity. Really look at it. Ask intelligent questions. Take your jersey off for a second, your team jersey, and find out, hey, does that work for me? Like, does that make sense? Why is it growing so fast? Why are agents, why are independent brokerages going over to eXp and, giving up their independence and going with this brokerage? Why is that happening? Well, you should explore that. I think if you're not, it's irresponsible. I mean, at some point you're going to be like, wait, what's that all about? Why not do that now? And if it's not for you, you can just scratch it off your list and be like, oh, already looked at it. But make sure that you have actually, honestly looked at it. I can help you do that. MassiveAgentPodcast.com/EXP. Watch the video on that page. And if you have questions, if you want to talk about how you fit into it, how it fits into what you're currently doing, how I'm using it, how you'd fit into my team and how I can help you, schedule a Zoom call with me right below that video on that page. Just go ahead, pick a day and time that works for you, schedule it, and let's talk. MassiveAgentPodcast.com/EXP will tell you how to do that. All right, guys. And everyone who's left a review for us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you can leave reviews for podcasts. Actually, I don't think Spotify does. Actually, if you're listening on podcast or on Spotify, God bless you. But I don't think that they have reviews yet. I think you can only leave reviews on Apple, on Stitcher, and I think that's it. Either way, every one of you that's done that, thank you. We appreciate it. Everyone who hasn't yet, if you've received any value from this podcast, please leave us a review. It helps us out dramatically. Okay. It helps us within the podcast rankings. It helps us with our podcast, quote, SEO, if you will, to rank within podcasts within, the Apple ecosystem. And I love to get the feedback. Okay. Telling me what you like about the show, certain things that you like really helps. So you can easily do that by going to MassiveAgentPodcast.com/review. It takes you right to the Apple Podcast platform. Just scroll down until you can click write a review. Do that. Takes 30 seconds and it helps us out. That's all we ask. And then share this with a friend or colleague in the industry. If you got value from it and you think they need to hear it, share it with them. That's all we ask. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Remember, check out Whitly, WITLY. You can get a free trial for that Facebook ads management and automation platform at MassiveAgentPodcast.com/Whitly. We'll be back next week with another episode for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something today or you got some ideas, please, for the love of God, don't just set them aside and do them later. Don't let yourself get too busy to focus on the stuff that you're like, you know what, I need to do this. Please put forth a plan today to start doing those things. Have a great weekend, guys.